Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Today we're doing a part 2 of the Moors, which me and brother Loki started building on that subject, and we promised you all we would get back to you all with a part 2 because there is so much information to dispense, and we didn't have the allotted amount of time to give you all that information. But we are back, and I have on the phones with me brother Loki. What's up, God?
What a did it do?
Oh man, glad that we can get back on this topic, bro, and give the people more information. Something that we can build with. And this is on the cuffs of the reparations talk. And I was glad to see the minister, Brother Farrakhan, state that we all have to start seeing ourselves as the whole. Let's build as a whole people instead of tribalism. When it comes to reparation, simply meaning that's a form of unity, and you got more soldiers in the game when we all on one accord. On that sense, Brother Key.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't even. Man, I thought I had lost.
No, I'm just listening, brother.
Yes, sir. Now let me get to a point, if I can find, and I have it. Dealing with the Moors, right? Because we have mentioned the Vikings on the last podcast, because this is all leading into the present time and also into the future. But you have to know your history or the history of where we came from or what took place in history so the story can be told correctly. And now this is coming from the history of the Vikings in Ireland. And it says a prominent Viking of the 11th century was Thor Hall, who was aboard the ship that carried the early Vikings to the shores of North America. Thor Hall was the huntsman in summer and in winter, the steward of Eric the Red. He was, it is said, a large man and strong, black, and like a giant, silent and foul-mouthed in his speech, and always egged on Eric to the worst. He was a bad Christian. Another Viking more notable than Thorhall was Earl Thorfinn, the most distinguished of all the earls in the island. Thorfinn ruled over 9 earldoms in Scotland and Ireland and died at the age of 75. His widow married the King of Scotland. Thorfinn was described as one of the largest men in point of stature and ugly, sharp-featured, and somewhat tawny, and the most martial-looking man. It has been related that he was the foremost of his men. Okay, so basically it's saying the Scotland and Wales, any comprehensive account of the African presence in early Europe should include England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Scandinavia. The history and legends of Scotland confirm the existence of purely black people. We see one of them in the person of Kenneth the Niger, which is Niger, during the 10th century. Kenneth the Niger ruled over 3 provinces in the Scottish Highlands. The historical and literary traditions of Wales reflect similar beliefs. According to Gwyn Jones, perhaps the world's leading authority on the subject, to the Welsh chroniclers, the Danes coming in by way of England and the Norwegians by way of Ireland were pretty well all black Gentiles, black Norsemen, black hosts. So that's showing that Moors was all over the planet.
Right.
From the Vikings to the Danes to the North. But so how did they, in their rulership, on one account, I read that the Fomorians were the original tribe in Ireland, but they had got whited out, and that's why you see some Irish with, you might see Irish with red hair or afro looking, and they even pointed out Andre the Giant, the wrestler from Ireland, and his afro and features. And I remember at one time, Andre the Giant was one of the favorites among black people. I guess they recognized themselves in him.
Right.
Yes, sir. But so as far as, because it's an interesting topic at this particular point to point out the Moors and what they call Eurasia or Europe. A lot of people have been on that topic and that discussion. I guess to prove that the Moors were all over the planet.
Right.
Anything you like to add on the fact of the, even from the popes, some of the Pope Maurice was a Moor.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Maurice means Moorish. The word itself means Moorish.
Means Moorish. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
fact. Even we point out the last name Moorish, Moorris, literally means Moorish, and the last name Moore literally means Moor, Moor. And we was talking about how these last names, these surnames, these copyrights are estate names, and so when you have some land and you have these names that are attached to land masses, you have family names that are attached to land that's owned by groups and families, that when they took on prisoners of war, they were taking on Moors, and which the first people that they ever called Indians were Moors. So a lot of things that I'm coming across now, and I'll be expounding on it over time as I memorize a lot of this information, is that we're just basically identifying the terms that came before these later day terms. So the reason why, American Indian and Native American as an actual, let's say if you want to contract under that particular classification, to my understanding at this point, I say on one hand, yes, there are certain, rights and privileges that come with that, but at the same time, it is also the way that, and I was just listening to Mir Kush actually build on this, is that the reservations are projects,
right?
Literally.
Yeah.
And, that particular status is under heavy restrictions, the same as the Negro status. They took Negro off of, as far as the census and thing, but Negro just means black, literally. The word is Spanish for black. So they just took it off just to make Negroes feel good, So what it comes down to is that, and I think this was in the book, I don't know if it was Destruction of Black Civilization or They Came Before Columbus, where they were, I think it was, so that might have been Ivan Van Sertima in They Came Before Columbus, one of those books where he said that we have to contend, and I'm paraphrasing, for the title of Moor. And this is coming from, a book that's centered around, black power, if you will, but just like Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, I'm a Moor. And what he's basically saying is that this doesn't take anything away from the essence of who and what we truly are. We're really, beyond even the color spectrums, that we're identifying, that we fell in love so deeply with something that is only an aspect of what we are in totality. We can never be bogged down to any one particular title as if it is just so divine that, we'll, not even willing to use common sense in terms of doing business based on this love affair that we have with a term that ultimately, as far as English is concerned, was created by Europeans who took and still have our people as prisoners of war. So but like I say, it's just being able to put things in the proper context. And it's also a thing of once, and I've talked to different people about this in regards to, like, let's say I'll just say this, when based on, you have intent and definition in life. Mm-hmm. So you have, when things are defined, let's say, and we probably built on this before, you sign a contract, you still bound by those terms. If you sign a cell phone contract or a lease or what have you, there's going to be terms that come behind that. So if you're in that realm and you're doing business, or if you're doing global trade, which is what the Moors are doing, and what part of the fight was about was Europeans trying to take over the trade routes over the waters, because we were an oceanic people that were traveling everywhere and were amalgamating everywhere. Then I lose my train of thought. I'm so much going through my head, man, at one time. But
right, but the Moors at one time was protecting American ships from pirates, right?
I don't know.
But at one point, that's why Morocco was the first to recognize what they call United States of America as a country.
Okay, so with the pirate ships, who was navigating the ships in particular?
Yeah, now they didn't say who was navigating the ships, because there was a lot of they was confiscating and raiding ships. So under the Moorish protection, they allowed the American cargo or their ships to, move about throughout the waters. And so America signed the treaty. But now, America signs a treaty with, they signed the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Mm-hmm. They signed the Sundry Act.
Okay, yeah, that was just recollecting on it, more of it was, I don't know how many people was involved. It was just one person who was dealing with that Sundry film. I'm about to pull it up and then I'll add on to that.
Right now, but my thing was, you're right. Who has the authority to break the contract? Meaning, as you said, a contract is ongoing because, of course, we have contracts that have been in place with other countries. When I say we, I'm speaking upon the land America. America been having contracts with countries for hundreds of years, right?
Right.
Now, the contract that the Moors signed, who had the authority to disengage that contract? Meaning, I'm asking
the Moors themselves. The Moors themselves are the only ones that can, because at the end of the day, we as individuals have the choice to live and die on this land. So the ultimate, release of contract is exit out of a body. So if one is under duress and coercion and, fighting in a war, then it's still choice involved as the battle is ongoing. So whatever, if you have, whether people are signing contracts, whether they're, let's say, what's another case? Yeah, you kind of get where I'm going with that.
I get exactly where you're going, bruh. Exactly where you're going. Now, let me ask this question, because some of these questions I'm asking, I just want to present it to people who may have some a thought in their mind, or who may have similar questions dealing with this subject, right? Okay. Now, a lot of people are doing their tracing their DNA and their lineage, right, through the DNA test, Ancestry, and me and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So should we be tracing it would be more valuable to trace our lineage to our Moorish past, particularly our Islamic Moorish past. Because the Islamic Moorish past was the ones who created the treaties, right?
Right. Nah, ain't no. It's not even needed. It's not needed. Black is synonymous with Moor. So if you, you black, you prove you black. As it stands, then you have standing to put on the record your national origin as Moor. Now you can expatriate. I'm not the expert on that. Y'all can holler at Mayor Kush about that. They're the experts on that. And become foreign nationals, non-citizens, and then your nationality that'll be on your passport, it'll change from United States of America to whatever nationality that you take on from there. You take on Moor or, what have you, then that's when that'll change, your actual citizenship, and so it's just about how you want to contract. And I want to add this too, is that ultimately, when it comes to a deeper aspect of, and this is what we were basically building on, Black, is it is one's approach and mindset when it comes to just navigating through life. So it is, for somebody like me, on one level, sometimes how you judge a passion is how you feel when you're engaged with it. So if you're a person that does music, but you might not, or let's say you're a skateboarder, but you might not be making any money off of it, but it's about the feeling that you have. It's actually fun for you. Right. So for me, just being what's in my DNA, like all of this stuff is fun for me.
Come on,
it's serious business.
Yes, sir.
But if I didn't enjoy it, then I would just be like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna roll with the status I've been had, and it's all good because there's nothing wrong with that. It ain't a right or wrong thing. It's just for me, as far now going back to the contract thing, is that when one is actually just, they know who they are and they're just saying this is what I am, and they're dealing in self-identification. I mean, there's going to be a cause and effect that come with that, and then on top of that, with one's foundation being spiritual, then we're all raised setting the path underneath our feet as we're walking through it. It's not a fixed variable. We're in a malleable reality, literally. So things are going to be constantly changing, and just like they show in Bleach, I always use as a reference, is that we're in the present right now. We're in a perpetual present, and as all these choices and decisions that we're making, we're creating a reality as we take each breath.
Right.
So we're not in a fixed variable.
Right.
So people shouldn't feel like, it's this the way it is and it'll never change. Like, change is a constant. There ain't no way around that.
Right. But right. We have to I don't want to say justify the need for change, but lay the basis out for the course to take to get to the change, right? Because okay. The reason why I asked that is because last week you had, this is the talk. Last week you had Sheeta Jackson Lee and Johnson from where was he from? Louisiana. They all talking about reparations. The reason why that subject won't die, because people have been talking about reparations since the 40 acres and the mule, which was promised to black people because they knew that land was the basis of independence, and you needed something to plow and build from if you want to have a economic equality in the capitalistic society, right? So they talking about reparations, because people feel slighted. It's like feel as though we can't move on unless that right been wrong. You know, it's like you growing up and somebody wronged you or might have even stabbed you or something, right? And you're younger. And as time went on, you never forgot. And, you know, it's like things won't be square unless you right this wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Till we come to terms with some type of peace. You know, because we not going to let it go. And then the other part is they're not going to not be who they are. You know what I'm saying? So we like, okay, we had a Mexican standoff. You know, they ain't giving nothing, and we upset the fact that you worked out and y'all living in the White House and living in luxury out for free labor for 350 years or better with strictly straight profit, and then you set black folks free, and you got an economic advantage, and you tell us, hey, get out there and hey, do what you can, you know, to make it, and it's like, okay, all of this, man, all of this comes together. Then we bring into the Moor situation. Okay, look, man, 6 out of 9 slaves come to America with Muslims. We all black, but we all was Moors. But the Moors from North Africa who fought Italy, who up in Rome, who led most of the slave rebellions was led by the Moors, the Islamic Moors who had the Quran and was speaking Arabic. Mm-hmm. Fighting for freedom, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Really
the first that was ever enslaved was the Moors. They like to gloss over that.
Come on. You know, so that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, so then we'll get into, well, who suffered the worst? The Muslims in America or the Christians in America? Okay, who or damn, dude, who bowed down first? I'm saying damn. You know, who the one said, look, man, I don't want this white Jesus. One said, okay, man, look, in order for y'all to keep that whip off me, give me the Jesus. One like, man, you just gonna have to kill me, man. I can't tell you, look, bro, I don't want your pig. I don't want your white Jesus. I don't want your names. I know where I come from. I know who I am. You know, I know my ancestors. We gonna roll with that. And then one is like, okay, I take the white Jesus. I take your name.
The Moriscos. No disrespect. No disrespect. Yes. I ain't flexing with y'all. Man. You know, y'all come on in, man. We you know, cause we all my Moriscos out there, all my Christian brothers and sisters, man, we still brothers and sisters.
That's right.
You know, y'all come on in the pool, the water just fine. You know,
it's fine. But
as long as you know you're more, we on.
We good, because that and I'm coming to my point. As long as you know you're more and know what that details or entails, meaning that you knowledge of self, you believe that there's no God but God, and this physical body is just a house to hold the God's spirit within you, and you don't bow to no man. And then freedom, justice, and equality, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And let's roll. That's what being a Moor is. What you had alchemy, you had Egyptian mystery system, you got math, you got science, you got astrology, all the disciplines and studies. That's a Moor, right?
That's a fact.
Okay, so
that's a fit of that.
So
yeah, we talking about libraries, from here to Albuquerque.
Come on.
And beyond. So, you got a little bit of everything in that thing. What we had, like 17 universities just in Europe during that one particular period from 700 AD to the 1400s, to the end of the 1400s.
That's right.
Not to mention, the billions of years that we've been down here putting in pain.
Come on.
And putting in work down here. So, I mean, hey, man, I'm just glad that, and just looking forward to the fruit of the labor, so I think that people should just continue to enjoy their work,
right,
as they make these transition phases, man, and just, be who they are and don't be scared to be who they are if that's what they want. Now, if they want to be, they got another way of doing it, hey, bring it to the table and let's eat.
That's right. I know exactly. It's like you have a talent and cultivate your talent without someone cultivating your talent for you, or cultivating you to use your talent for their benefit, and you don't get anything out of it. That's why you see, might see a lot of people on their screen or in the media, and you seeing them, when you wonder, well, damn, I see you on TV all the time. Why you upset, or why you look unhappy? Because there's a difference in doing what you love in a free environment, and you have freedom to create and freedom of expression, versus someone saying, okay, you got to do this, you got to be here at this time, you have to do it like this, and you know what I mean. And when someone's controlling your creative thought that comes out of your mind, but yet somebody's controlling what comes out of your mind, of course you're gonna be, upset in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, it makes sense. But because that's not that's not the Moorish way. I was finna say that's not the African way, even though we understand that continent of Africa, but it was Asia for Africa. It was something else after that. America was Turtle Island. So I'm just saying.
Right. There's another piece too to that. I'm gonna have to bring back on this term Afrique and this term Africa, and it being something that we first used that term. I got another piece on that.
Afrique.
Yeah, but I can't. Okay. I don't want to expound on it yet until I've memorized the information. But I definitely heard it.
Okay.
And I would just say, man, we just keep in mind that we're the original creators.
Right.
We created creation, the term creation, the thought of it, to be able to expound on it and conceptualize it. So we're the originators, the original people. So the original man and woman. So when it comes to this later day concept, whether we call it demiurge, Tamahu, or what have you, that concept is specific in the fact that it is not the creator, and what it does is it takes something prior and does a fake version of alchemy, where they take something original and they add another aspect that is not complementary, and it creates a plastic or a hybrid or a knockoff version
right.
of the original, and you have this This is principle of correspondence. You're just putting two and two together, man. It's
Listen.
just really that simple, man.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. We say grafted. Some can say that was alchemy.
A full fake version of alchemy.
Fake version of alchemy.
Where you produce a plastic, you put even if you put your food in plastic, or if you use a plastic fork, then the elements that it's made of still enters your body whenever you're eating. That's why it's actually healthier if you had like a bronze spoon and a bronze fork or a bronze plate, because as you as a form of energy come in contact with these other forms of energy that we call knives, food, et cetera, plates and things, like you're still taking on those elements into your body literally. So it has an impact on you. So, yeah, man.
Be better to use the bronze, huh?
Yeah, bronze, copper, anything natural.
Oh, come on, man. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Shout out to Lord Turk, man. Used to walk around, I think, with a copper plate. I think he was like going to restaurants with like a copper plate. He was on it.
That's what's up,
copper or bronze.
Now we traveling right now because you said something that just sparked my mind, bro. We traveling because we have to go down the road of the Moors, the terminology of black. We got to get that out the way before we can get to. We have to exhaust that wisdom so we can get to the original man and the original woman. But we not there yet. But we getting close, and it's just like Abraham in the Bible, by God, you got to go through it. Well, okay, if I get 50, you going to save, okay, go get 50. Well, what if I get 40? Now, okay, what if I get 20? If I get 10, okay, what if I get 1? Okay, now we can move on to the real deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we got to go through the whole process, that leaving no stone unturned. That way, people can't say, well, you ain't tried this or you didn't do this, man. This was already put on the table. It's been discussed. It's been analyzed. We had the dialogues over it. Okay, now we can go to where the path leads to, and in the future, the knowledge and the study would be the original man and the original woman of the planet Earth. What all does that detail? The power behind that, and then what's that God force that was put into the original man and the original woman, and what powers do they pertain if they have knowledge of self or know who they are, or if they use more than 10% of their brain, and then the function or the method to show them how to use more than 10% of the brain. But we get into that part. We just got to get all this. You can't skip steps. Yeah, we can't skip steps, but we coming though. You know what I mean? Yeah, we on the road. We on the right road. So we keep on building, until it exhausts, because me and Brother Loki, we taken through Europe, Moors in the Native Americans, Africa, Egypt. We probably have to do one more part 3.
We might have to just make this just an ongoing thing, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, as long as I got breath in my body, hey, it's so much more to uncover with this in terms of actual right now application. And that's the difference between, people saying that, okay, well, yeah, we're American Indians, and when that is literally a product of Europeans. Yeah. And in particular, you refer to Federal Directive 15. I mean, that's their definition. That's their term. So, and that's that's a particular classification in how you contract.
Well,
so
true. But when Indian though short for indigo, I'm not sure.
Well, Indian was the first people that they ever called Indians were the Moors.
Right.
So it's these are all terms identifying the same people. It's just that, under the term Moor, they created these treaties, and treaties are the supreme law of the land, but they got to be enforced by the people who are under those particular treaties, and that's the Moors. The Moors are subject to the treaty. They are the content of the treaty. So, basically what this means is that when it comes to doing business, just to simplify everything, is that you have more to work with. So why limit oneself in terms of, how we do business and upgrading how we do business based on emotions? Why not just have control over one's emotions and let's get to it? Because the only way that we can implement it is by enforcing it. Right. That's it. Right. And so either one has to ask a question: are they an enforcer, or are they, they just gonna, fall back or take a different route? It's up to the individual.
Right. Exactly. Which route do they, or what need do they need fulfilled, or what's your vision is for the future, or what do you call freedom? And I guess from those questions, they'll arrive at an answer of what is freedom. As I don't want to get the number wrong, but the number vary. But as Harriet Tubman said, it was, I heard 300, I heard 1,000, but we'll go with 1,000. She said that she freed 1,000, but would have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. Mm-hmm. So that's meaning that if you don't have knowledge, and knowledge of who you are, and knowledge of your history, then how could you possibly come up with what freedom is, or what's good for your future? Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, man, bro. Okay, yeah. Because look, as the minister stated earlier, he said that they made us into themselves. Mm-hmm. When we weren't allowed to read, wasn't allowed to read, wasn't allowed to write. We was under their auspice, or it wasn't care, but we was under their jurisdiction, and they turned us into them. And so once they turned us into them, we started acting and behaving like them, doing all kind of. But he said, but what else could he have made?
Trading places.
They were trading places. Come on,
places.
We traded places.
Turn us into them, and they put on the feds and created this semi-global Masonic organization or business that they have going on, from their allies in Israel to DC to the Vatican City to the Synod of London. Those four entities, amongst others, and
got us, and that's the thing, man. And then not to cut you with, just want to say one. Yeah. Not that how can I say? It's like, well, go. I mean, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to that. Go ahead, Black. Well, I'm saying, as the lesson states, look, we not supposed to be fooled nowadays, bro. We meaning, man, how bad was the blow to the head that gave us a concussion? What the hell did they hit us with? But well, no, I take that back. It's a lot of brothers like yourself that more so today, that's putting the information and knowledge out, that's shining light upon the situation, to where you can see how we once lived, and you can start seeing ourselves in those roles and positions of how of what it once was and what we're trying to get back to. Meaning, now when they show movies about Egypt, even though they might have a white person portraying it, but common sense now, people saying that they see themselves now. They just, in their mind, they put themselves in them roles and see how they used to do it. Versus looking at them like, how the hell y'all portraying, how did y'all do that coming from Europe and this sun and the whole building pyramids when they don't even have no account of even being over there, right? You know, and now we saying, wait, now we know how to, in our mind, see them as being black and what we did, and we piecing it back together again. So, okay, times are changing. We not being fooled like we were fooled in the past. The knowledge is moving. People are standing up and interested. You know, people are taking trips. They going to see these things. You know, I'm hearing people saying, "Hey, man, I went over to Egypt, man, and what they show you on TV, man, all them black folk over there, they was glad to see us." Mm-hmm. You know, so yeah. Then hell, they even know. Oh man, bro, it's just we on the cuffs of something that's great. You know, but as a good, and I don't even want to use the term shepherd, but as a good, what's a good term? Like, as a good friend, we don't want to leave nobody behind because we see our Moors as friends.
Right.
So of course we'll say, if we see somebody, hey, why don't you get up on this knowledge, or here you go, look here, man, you know, let me put this knowledge in a song then. Okay, well, let me put it in a movie for you. Okay, well, let me put it in a book for you. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Because the reason why we do that, though, truthfully, is nobody wants to leave a friend behind. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll put stuff on the table. And, you know, and it hurt you to your heart, but it's like, God damn, man, you're going to go down the same path. Okay, cool. Okay, cool, that's what you choose to do. Because there ain't no right or wrong. But don't say the knowledge wasn't put on the table for you. Hell, all you had to do was open the book. But if you choose not to open the book, okay, that's on you. But don't point the finger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Say that. Say that.
You fool, yeah, nigga, don't go in your pocket and pull out a cross and try to put it on it. Talking about I'm teaching something other than Jesus. You know, because really, hell, Jesus was a Moor.
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? So now, Jesus, he was teaching freedom, justice, and equality, man. Yeah. What is you talking about, bro? Don't indoctrinate me. Yeah. You know, and then look, and you know what's funny though? But man, I'm gonna tell you what's funny though, bro. I'm gonna make this last point. You know how the physical food, how they say you are what you eat, like saying if you eating, like say you eat like the homie say, you eating a pig, right? You eating the swine, right? Which, as Dr. Kang was saying, that the pig one of the beasts that don't sweat. But so look, you eating this beast, right? you start taking on the characteristics of this beast, right?
Yeah.
Well, then, if you feed off the slave master's knowledge for so long, you're gonna start looking like the slave.
Right.
Because you feeding off his knowledge, and people gonna start bagging away from you like, man, you look like you got a plantation waiting on me or something. I ain't going over there, nigga. Man, slip me out the back door into some shackles or some shit.
You feel me?
Nah, it ain't happening, bro.
You feel me? I'm telling you, and this is one of the pieces that's missing, where you know you got all these brothers out here litigating. Shout out to Freeway Rick Ross.
Yes, sir. Come on.
You know, from L.A., originally from Tyler, Texas.
Freeway Rick Ross from Tyler?
Yes, sir.
What?
Yes, sir.
Down the street. Sir. Down the street, man.
Man, shout out to the guy, Freeway Rick Ross, man. I saw that interview on Drink Champs. And, you know, of course, he's on Everyday People, the movie.
The documentary. Y'all check him out. It's coming soon.
Yeah, the good brother ft.Black put it down. And so he talks about, you know, all the brothers that he helped get out of prison. and he helps so many brothers with litigating. Just which is the process of going in there and dealing with your case and coming out there with a resolution that's going to work in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
And damn, why I bring that up, man?
But he was on the drink champs, and he was helping a lot of brothers get out of prison. You gave him a shout out, Tyler, Texas.
Yeah, so I was just talking about when it comes to litigation. Once you add nationality to the conversation, national origin in particular, because it is a subject of citizenship, but I would just say for a starting point, dealing with the national origin for those of us who are already U.S. citizens and utilizing these treaties and all of these different forms of paperwork, Sharia law, if you're getting into a Sharia compliant mortgage with no interest, all these things that you can tap into in regards to your religious rights, your First Amendment aspects. Because when you look at like their constitution and all that, just look at it as something that you're interfacing with because you're still dealing in trade as long as you're on this land. And if you're on this land, then you still got to deal with the issue of the contract of jurisdiction. Now, if you want to deal with jurisdiction in a real way, then you have we're surrounded by examples. Chinatown, you got the way that Latinos do business in this city where they got whole neighborhoods sold up. You got European organizations that hate, dark-skinned people that have taken over a whole, little city. I think it was Tariq Nasheed who was talking about, forgot the name of that little city that's ran by, Europeans who think that they're, that they're the ones. And so it's just a matter of if you take over the real estate in a particular area, and then you start implementing things like private security firms, like the Jewish neighborhoods. We've talked about all this so this is all business. This is, how you move on the chessboard, because it's not always looking at it as brute force is the only means of moving on the chessboard.
Right.
There's a million and one ways to skin a cat, so to speak, or skin a pig, or however you want to put it.
Right.
Even though we don't partake of the swine, but
right.
We do slaughter things that are in the way.
Yes, sir.
If need be, so it's just talking about business, though, man. That's all this stuff is about. People shouldn't get all wrapped up emotionally in it. Just, look at it from a business perspective.
Right.
Take and have control over one's emotions.
Oh, come on, yeah, right. Come on, bro. Yeah. Man, dude, bro, you just hit it on the head. I mean, it's so many. We not handcuffed, and so many things to participate in. But you're right, they make a move, and we get all emotional. Oh man, I can't believe they did so. But no, there's a move. There's a petition you can file. It's something that you can do to put. You know what I mean? Move your piece. Don't be like, oh, it's over with. Damn, like that's it. And then sometimes you have to even go investigate, because sometimes they'll make a move and you don't even know they made the move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bro, yeah, man. That's why I say, look, anybody. I ain't gonna even say that. Okay, yeah, you right though, bro. Look, you right, bro. I ain't gonna get too deep. Yeah, you sure right. You sure, man. But look, recognize the power that you have and use it and build, because a lot of the system, and we should fit right into the system of doing business, because you know how long our people been doing business. It should be in the subconscious mind.
Right.
Well, we was doing business and trade here before some people was even on the planet.
Right.
Goddamn. Pick it back up and let's roll, man. In the system of business. But you know what, though? I'll take that back. The journey is not as long as it seems. when you have an ideal in the thought and it's fresh on your mind, it seems like the reality of making that come into existence is millions of miles away. But it's not that long, bro. But you got to start somewhere. Put that 1 foot in forward, and put that 1 foot forward, and start walking. And before you know it, you'll be halfway, and you'll be like, damn, I didn't know I was this far. When you look behind you, you keep on rolling.
Right.
Good, you're going to get there. Believe me, man. It's going to happen. Trust me. But,
right. And I want to add this one piece, Black, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
What I was thinking about earlier was that just because, we're identifying these particular groups and certain locations, is that it ain't, one shouldn't be engaged in fear just because these things exist. This is just it's all a part of the movie. So, one of the 12 jewels and the 12 jewels of Islam is happiness. So once you achieve, you go through that 11, you get to the 12, you get to the 12 jewel. That is, after that's what all the work is for. The work is for the happiness, So enjoy this ride. And as they say in Zoroastrianism, and I may be pronouncing some of this, I'm not 100% on the pronunciation, but they call it Humata, which is good thoughts, Hukta, which is good words, and Varsta, which is good deeds. And that Varsta starts with an H. And it is just basically saying that be mindful of what you think in terms of your thoughts, because there's a cause and effect that come with that. So, keep your thoughts high vibratory, your words high vibratory, and your deeds, your actions high vibratory, because it's having an impact on your reality. So, people say these pity words about themselves, where it makes them, I guess it's like a feel good, type of thing to talk down on themselves, as some type of excuse for their existence, when there's always examples of people that are, whether it's the same age or the same, that have, whether they were able to recover or whether they were able to live a life where even when they went out of their body, it was for natural causes, because, whether it was something going on in their cause and effect that allowed them to live that kind of life. So the power is always within our hands. And once one gets to at least the level of fuck that. If you made in the image and likeness of, then it's your responsibility. You got to look in the mirror. You got to take responsibility for the cause and effect of your reality if you're an adult and you're not up under a guardian, which the root of it is God. So we're the guards of our children when we're their guardians, and we have the majority of control over their cause and effect. But once we become adults, we now have the majority of control of that, so we got to take responsibility for the reality around us.
Man, excellent. Well said, bro. I don't want to say nothing else after that. I want to linger on that and dissect that, bro. Inhale that. That's what it's all about, bro. Yeah. And to wrap it up in a nutshell, that's what it's about, bro. Right there, dude. Right there. Man, I look, appreciate you for being on the show, bro, and sharing that wisdom, bro.
Man, appreciate you, Brother Black.
All right, man. You know how we do it, low-key. All right, y'all we getting close, man. Y'all gonna see low-key debut, man, and Everyday People, the movie, the docudrama, man. And I had fun. I appreciate, you working with me on that, man, and being patient while we put this thing together, bruh. This was my first one.
Yeah. So beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. The journey putting together was fun, but we ain't through yet. And before we get out of here, anything you want to add, bro? But look, check this out. Go check us out. Everyday People, the movie. # Everyday People, the movie.
And MoorsEmpire.net.
Hey, say it one more time.
Hello?
Yeah, say it one more time.
Yeah, ft.Loki on IG, the number 4, LOKI, and MoorisEmpire.net.
Go check it out, and we out.
Yeah, yeah.